If you know my background, I used to work at the nonprofit called the Asian Law Caucus for some 12 years and hated government, to be quite candid with you. Didn't think it was connected at all to the communities that I was serving, probably reflective of a lot of nonprofit leaders here for many years too, when you see a lot of disconnectivity. So I made it a point after stopping my litigation against the city to actually work for it and to help build a cadre, hopefully. That was my only hope 21 years ago, is maybe I could build a cadre of departments and department heads to work together and kind of renew what I thought was San Francisco and a stronger connectivity. Well, I found potentially 26,000 other people, wonderful employees of the city who want to do better and want to give the best service. And know, as I know some 60 department heads know today, that government cannot do it alone, can never perform our services alone, can't accomplish a great city's goals alone. And so for the last 5 months, I've been putting together the kind of collaboration that we need to not only deal with environmental challenges, programs for our seniors, youth violence programs, ending domestic violence, increasing public safety, all of that, every single part of what we do is now been an integral part of collaboration with community, with nonprofits, and with government, as well as with community activists. And so just yesterday, I unveiled a $6.83 billion budget. If you can believe that kind of budget can exist in a small town like San Francisco. But that a great part of it and the ability to balance it was done directly with nonprofits talking with us about how their capacity over a 5-year financial planning program can be built and can help us deliver on a better healthcare system, help us provide meals and nutrients to seniors, making sure that we've got violence prevention programs that are directly linked to our youth, making sure that we have shelter for our homeless, supportive services around those shelters, making sure that we have all kinds of effective programs that are community-based, because we have found that government can't deliver those services directly, can't do that effectively, but we also were worried that our nonprofits didn't have the capacity. The nonprofits in our communities are extremely challenged, as all of you may know, coming out of these very, very hard economic times. And so what can government do? We can help build capacity. We may not be able to deliver all those direct services, but if we signal that capacity building is important to us as it is to the nonprofits, as it is to communities, then we can have the kind of capacity that we need built around our communities to make sure they're enriched and supported. So we went about doing that some months ago. And it's kind of still interesting to find out that there are governments around our Bay Area that still don't talk to their communities, don't talk to their labor organizations, but kind of preach what they think that they want to do, and then hopefully it happens. I found it pretty easy to engage our communities in making sure they are brought into how we do the budget and making sure everything is transparent and how we make those decisions and allow them to impact the way we think. That to me, is more a progressive government. And as we've done that, we've been able to roll out a very difficult budget, but one that I thought was actually quite simple to do when we were able to work on issues on the front end and making sure that we can balance that budget going in to present it to the Board of Supervisors. So we're kind of on a roll because we've opened up our doors and made sure that we're listening to people. And one of the reasons why we're listening before we act is because I was trained to do that in the nonprofit area, that we would never go into any community, even as lawyers working at the Asian Law Caucus. We knew that the law was something that our own community, that the community that I worked in, feared the law more than they respected it. And out of fear, they then were ignorant of the law and didn't use it to their advantage. Residents, low-income tenants, they came from countries where the law was actually feared. And if you listened to their fears and you worked with them, they can slowly introduce what we called at those times community education. And then eventually they were able to have confidence that the law could be used on their side to make changes that they desired. Well, through that process, government shouldn't be feared. It should be opened up, and through that opening, we're able to work closer with our community partners. That's how we at the City Administrator's Office, we've been able to do a lot more things different. So while we represent the internal departments where there's purchasing, public works, real estate, we've been able to work through a program called Neighborhood Empowerment Network, NEN. And that's it's part of the network of agencies that we're introduced to today. Daniel Holmesy's here to help us with NEN. But we learned by the trips that former Mayor Gavin Newsom sent us to in New Orleans, as we stood on the blocks of corners of the 9th Ward and asked ourselves how we could prevent that kind of devastation from ever happening here in San Francisco. We then backtracked to suggest that recovery from a major disaster can actually start today. And it's amazing when you transfer yourself in a kind of a Star Trek way to suggest that the disaster has already happened. And today we are building the community to prepare for that disaster that's already happened. If you put your mindset into that, you cannot but avoid to have to confront ourselves with neighborhood capacity and neighborhood empowerment networking, because to not do that today is to allow ourselves to be in the 9th Ward as it exists a year ago when we, 2 years ago when we went there. Complete devastation, nobody even hearing that they were invited to come back and rebuild both their schools, their libraries, and their homes. We have that opportunity to do that today by building strong communities and suggesting today that our Potrero Hill, our Bayview, our Excelsior, Outer Mission, our Mission area, and our Chinatowns can actually be strengthened today so that they'll be here after the big event that is promised to be here in the next 25 to 30 years. And by building capacity in our neighborhoods and working with our businesses as well as our nonprofits, as well as community activists, we can strengthen our ability to withstand and not fear the unknown of that big event. And so more and more, as we are doing that and building that capacity, we are finding out that there is less fear about the big earthquake that's going to happen, because we practice and practice over and over again, not only the response, but the ties that we have for building the strength of these communities. That's what I believe in. That's what we've been doing in reflection of how we do the budget, and now how we deliver environmental goals, how we deliver goals for our youth and our education, and how we deliver virtually every critical service of this city. And if we can work in that collaboration, as Lynn referred today, in the connectivity that you all have, we will be that much of a stronger city, but also a stronger community in the whole Bay Area. I am continuing to be surprised that the budget rollouts in San Jose are talking about layoffs in the most critical services. Then in Oakland, they're talking about not only layoffs, but closing libraries, of all places. Here in San Francisco, because of our collaboration, we're opening up additional libraries. We're renovating them. We're getting public-private partnerships. And the safest place a kid can be today is in a library, in collaboration with our community. So I'm proud of this city. It's been a really great, trippy experience being the mayor for 5 months, being an appointed mayor. But it is a wonderful, wonderful city, and I'm glad this boot camp is here, and I'm glad all of you are here in looking at this connectivity that's so important. So congratulations, and welcome to San Francisco. Thank you.